Police want your help getting the area's most wanted suspects off our streets. Tonight, Lieutenant Mike Budreau is here to take a look at the suspects officers put behind bars last week, some of them thanks to your tips. And a lot of these, a pretty long list of those arrested, Lieutenant Budreau.
It was a great week. Yeah, we have 6 in custody since we last talked, so outstanding work.
All right, who's the first one that we got?
Yeah, let's talk about Johnny Carter. We talked about him all the way back in December. He's wanted for failure to register as a sex offender and some meth charges. We came across him this past Saturday. He tried to run, but we caught him. Anthony Winsberry, he was featured in the middle there. He was featured back in February. He's wanted for car theft and a weapons offense. And we responded to a call for service in which somebody was disorderly, and we found him and arrested him. And Stephen Fennell on the right, we talked about him early in May. He's wanted for identity theft. He was picked up in Josephine County and returned back here to Jackson County. Moving on, we had Rodney Gorneau. We talked about him last month. And he's wanted for car theft, eluding the police, and a theft charge, and he actually turned himself in, which is outstanding. And then Austin Gainey, we talked about him May 19th. He was wanted for theft in the first degree and heroin and burglary and all sorts of charges, and the sheriff's office came across him in White City last week and arrested him on his warrants. And then Michael Jones, we talked about him in March. He was wanted for failure to appear as a registered sex offender, and we contacted him this past weekend, and he has a new charge of possession of heroin.
They're the most wanted suspects in your community tonight. Lieutenant Mike Budreau is here, who says these are suspects hanging out on our streets but should be locked up behind bars. Thank you for joining us, Lieutenant Budreau. So our first suspect, Marion Clark.
Yeah, Marion Clark, she's 22 years old. She is wanted for selling and distributing heroin. Heroin is something that we've seen a lot of recently in the last couple of years, so it'd be really nice to take the dealers off of the street. You could see she has some unusual eyebrows, which could certainly be an identifying characteristic about her. But yeah, as selling heroin. So the next person will be David Gilbert. He's 43 years old. He's wanted for a parole violation for sexual assault, and he also has not registered as a sex offender. It stems from a 2005 case, and he continually does not register, so we're typically arresting him over and over for failure to register, and he's also on parole for sexual assault.
Okay, and next up, Robert Larson.
Yeah, Robert Larson, he's 43 years old, wanted for a parole violation for burglary. It's a sheriff's office case in which a house was burglarized, a lot of stuff stolen, but what was also stolen was a World War II uniform and an American flag, which showed up at a pawn shop in Grants Pass. Sheriff's office tracked it back to Mr. Larson. He was charged with the burglary. He's now been convicted of that and on parole.
Okay, and your next suspect?
Robert Walker, he's 31 years old. He's wanted for a parole violation for assault and he does have some identifiable tattoos on his face, and it looks like he's got a Bluetooth ear thing that don't know why that's there, but the tattoos on his face say state raised, and then there's some stars, which is
no gang affiliation with those tattoos.
No, it doesn't appear to be. Just he has actually a lot of tattoos. Just it's always unusual to see him on the face. And he is a registered sex offender as well.
Okay. Last suspect.
Last suspect is Jonathan Reed. He's 25 years old. He's wanted for parole violation for assault. He's a documented gang member. And this is a case, it's actually a domestic dispute in which he assaulted a female, took the phone from her when she tried to call 911. And we arrested him. He's now convicted of that and on parole. He skipped out on his parole.
Okay, Lieutenant Mike Budreau with Medford Police Department, thank you very much for talking about those. Remember, folks, if you see any of these suspects, contact Medford Police immediately. And as always, you can remain anonymous.